Hypervoid is a very fun, suspenseful game, a 3D arcade shooter. This game came out 10 years ago. 10 years ago for during the PS3 era and 360 era. This is for all platforms, so PS3, PC, 360, and as well, I believe as well after a PS4. You know, First off, this game though is an arcade shooter, so it's gonna have various different types of projectiles, enemies, traps, loopholes, different types of levels, mini bosses, crazy ass of sequences. This game maintains a very fast pace. It's a very fast paced game, and the game is constantly moving and moving and moving, and you gotta constantly adapt. You have three different projectiles, and as well like this dodge. You have like this a shield. This a shield. Once you get hit three times, you basically die after that. You also have as well power ups too as well. So power ups you can power up things. So for example, they give you like replenish like your armor, or will make you like invincible, or there'll be this one power up that will make you shoot infinitely. And yeah, the power ups are very important at the hit because sometimes though the actual checkpoints like, are very tight, and like you have to get that extra armor. The only way to get more armor is to hit power ups. You know, and the enemies in this game are crazy. The enemies they trap you. There's enemies that constantly are coming after you. There's enemies that will trap you, teleport towards you, shoot lasers at you. There's laser traps. There's like a minefield enemy, which is very annoying. Various types of loopholes. You know, One of my favorite types of enemy, I can't remember what it's called, but it is one enemy. It kind of evolves and then it literally shoots lasers all across the screen. And yeah, bosses going into the mini bosses, the bosses. That's when the game really gets hard. It really, the actual difficulty spikes up. Some bosses though, they have the bosses that go through sequences sometimes. So sequence one, two, three, then it gets harder. Some of the bosses only have one sequences, and sometimes though the game will kind of recycle bosses. So I believe I can't remember which level 9 and level 16. I had the same boss. And yeah, but like it's just the next time you see the boss, it's just like a boss with more health and more armor. There's also things in the game too, like there's a hyper mode. So there's 25. I believe there's 29 stages in the game, like in the base game. Every stage varies. Like in the level design, the patterns, the traps, the actual enemies, and yeah. But you have a standard mode. So standard mode, that's where if you get hit three times, so like you basically get three hits. No, sorry, three. Once you get hit three times, like you're dead. But there's also like a hyper mode. So there's a hyper mode. Hyper mode is like basically a sudden death. So like if you get hit, you have to reset at the previous checkpoint. It's very hard. Hy- you know, Hyper mode is very hard. Hyper mode is very hard. But it's best to well, you have to like unlock hyper mode. So that means that you have to like at least did that stage once already, and like you have to find like a certain orb. So there's certain orbs that will like unlock hyper mode for for future stages. So for example, I believe can't remember if stage 3 had the hyper mode orb for stage 4 or 5. You know, but like you have to kind of look out for them. They're kind of like these big ass circle orbs, that you have to look out for. And yeah, but they're very easy to miss because the game is super fast paced. So this game, like I said before, extremely fast paced, constantly moving and moving and moving. And with the dodge ability, you have to really get used to it. It's best to play this game if you have a controller. If you have like some sort of a controller, it's best to play it because dodging for example like I'm using the Xbox controller 360, so I constantly have to press on right trigger, left trigger, to dodge left, dodge right, because there's constant traps and projectiles are coming at you. And yeah, it's crazy. This game is super suspenseful. Some of my favorite things about the game is the soundtrack. The soundtrack is amazing. Has a very, I don't know, what to call it, like some arcade disco type music. But the actual soundtracks benefits complements the stages so well. You know, like I have to actually go on YouTube and download some music. I download some actual OST for this game because the actual soundtracks are so well done. The levels, stages. You also have a challenge mode. So there's three different challenges, which is basically three. I believe it's three of the hardest stage. No, it's replaying three stages, but the stages like are slightly different. So I believe it's stages. I can't remember off, but it's like stage. For example, stage 18, 20, no, 18, 21, and 25. So it's basically replaying these stages, but they're altered. They're altered. And I believe it has the stages. They'll have the developers' names on them. But these challenges are very hard. Actual challenges are very hard. You know, there's one challenge I believe where there's you have to go through this sequence, and this challenge you have to constantly dodge to remain within the process. So you have to follow these gates exactly, like exactly. You have to stay like in line. Otherwise, the actual challenger is gonna end. It's kind of like some sort of a time sequence, so you have to remain within the gates. Plus, the gates are like a zigzag, and they go through this crazy ass pattern. But it's like a constantly dodging, and then as well you gotta dodge enemy fire as well simultaneously. And yeah, so yeah, Hypervoid. This game is crazy. This game is crazy. Suspenseful, difficult, hard. Another a great example, like in the game about it being hard, is that there's this minefield. So this is like one of the coolest, hardest levels where literally there's like this minefield, and if you shoot any of the mines, you're gonna actually activate an entire minefield, or it's like a part of the minefield. Plus a minefield, it'll literally teleport a projectile towards you, and so you have to so you can't shoot at all. You just have to dodge. You have to dodge, and you have to prevent the minefield entirely. But yeah, a Hypervoid. I highly recommend this game. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thanks for watching.